Welcome to the War Room. Today, we're going to talk about why real men don't ask women about anything. Stay tuned. If you're in the dating game, there is no doubt that at some point you're going to hear that virtue signaling from some woman. Either that you're going to hear that a real man doesn't ask a woman about how old she is, or you'll hear something along the lines of a real man doesn't ask about her past or whatever. Basically, we've all heard a set of rules about what real men don't do. And I think that probably the big majority of us, we run into this because the big majority of women are off the rails. We don't need to go into further detail and smashing what they are. It's been around since 2007. The foothold's pretty good. Rollo Tomasi made it pretty crystal clear. And, still we're having these conversations where we're having to repeat ourselves over and over again. And I know that's because there's a lot of guys waking up. But at some point you have to stop and change the way that things go. I've heard a long time ago, old fools were once young fools. And as you progress through life and you have these experiences, it's very important that you learn whatever lesson it is that you were supposed to learn. And the problem with men is, I guess probably since all the way back to the beginning with Adam and Eve, and then you can move forward, or backward, and find so many different examples of where women have taken great men off their purpose, off their path. And that I guess maybe it's an ingrained human thing, but for whatever reason, we're not going to argue any of these things. For whatever reason, women have the ability to cripple men. And as time has gone on, we've gotten the sexual revolution and all the feminism and the modern, the independent girl, all the BS that we have in our current society, which has completely wrecked everything. Men have been guided into a corner because there are a lot of rules, and they change by the moment based on whatever female that you're dealing with feels. And there's a obvious war between the men and the women that are still on the battlefield. The men that are on the battlefield are fighting a losing battle, and the reason for that is multifaceted. There's so many reasons why that is the case, but for this argument, we'll just leave it for what it is. And, I was doing some research on, a topic to frame this video around, and I found a video about this. I don't remember the woman's name, and I do not even want to give her any credit or anything. Just the context, just the context of what she said, and the fact that she's a dating coach or whatever. Not really dating, thought coach. I mean, all of her information is basically about how to be a slut and get away with it, and validation of, that being okay. That's the new normal. And men need to just get over it. And I agree. Men absolutely need to get over that, because it's our grandfathers and my generation as well. I was born in Generation X, and we were kind of the wake up generation. The 60s, spawned a bunch of crap, and the kids that were born out of that revolution, the 60s and the early 70s, we were indoctrinated with something that was being pushed away as we were being taught. And so as I've gotten older, it's changed from the man being the center of the household to, if mama ain't happy, nobody's happy. Even though papa was the one that was still going to work, that changed. And everything's changed. It's completely been ripped inside out. And so now there are so many rules and so many things that men are supposed to do, and most importantly, what we're not supposed to do. And one of the things that this chicken head, post-wall chick said was that men didn't have the right, real men, the men didn't have the right to ask about body count or ask about their past or ask about anything that would really sway a relationship, and that real men never ask those questions. Well, I thought about that after I threw up in my mouth a little bit, and at first I was pissed off because this chick is saggy and she's pretty gross. So this is the woman telling people to cheat and how to be a thought. Now, this person and many women that are giving out this advice, they have this entitlement. They have this entitlement that they are, my body, my choice. I'm able to do what I want to do with who I want to do it, and it's none of your business. And gentlemen, they are right. They're 100% right. You don't have the right to tell her what to do with her body. You don't have the right to do any of that. You can't tell her what she can do, what she can't do. You can't do any of that. You don't have the right to dictate what she is. But you do have the right to know. Anything that you ask, if you ask a woman how old she is, it's because you want to know. You're not making small talk. You want to know. The reason why they don't want to tell you is because we all know what the wall is. We all understand that. They fail to understand that they have an expiration date. So if a woman doesn't want to tell you her age, what do you think she's not going to want to tell you else? That's a small thing. If she's going to get uncomfortable about that, then we can go up the checklist. And that's the whole thing. That's the key. Right now, with this lockdown situation and people being, on the fence about it, there's going to be a lot of stuff. This thing is going to get worse before it gets better because the food shortage that's coming, there's going to be a lot of things. We haven't seen the worst of this. And sadly, it's not going to be because of the virus. It's going to be because of the social conditions that the people that have exacerbated this situation have caused. I firmly believe that this thing here will have little to do with the pandemic and everything to do with people's reaction to what's coming down the pipe. Now, if you're spending your time watching videos, paying for OnlyFans, cucking out on, porn sites or dating sites or any of that stuff, you're in this game. And you're absolutely foolish to believe that you're playing this game with people who are wholesome. Now, this is the caveat of my agreeing with women in saying that real men don't ask those questions. The reason for that, ladies, is this. Real men don't ask you those questions because the men that you're dealing with are hoe-ass niggas. Your Chads and your Tyrones and these guys that are running through you, these guys aren't honorable dudes. They don't give a shit about anything about you. It's not that real men don't ask those questions. Real men don't deal with you. That's the truth, and it's ugly, and I know it's painful, and I'm gay or whatever will come out of someone who's been triggered by this truth, but that's the truth. Real men don't ask those questions that frazzle whores, because real men don't spend time with whores unless there is a mutual agreement. That's the deal. But that's why these women have to hide this stuff. That's why they want to shame you for asking these questions, because they know that these things are important. They know that if they tell you the truth, you're going to exfil. You're not going to be able to be brought into their web of deception and lies. And here's the ugly part of this is the ugly truth, fellas. If you are on dating apps, if you are if you're doing any of that stuff, you're basically cucking out. Instead of doing things and chasing after a dirty, pair of drawers, man, that's probably got God knows what during this quarantine, you should be bettering yourself. If you can't fight, farm, if you can't do basic things, if you can't build anything, if you can't do anything that a man should be able to do, you should be spending your time doing those things instead of asking women about their body count or trying to hook up with them or any of that stuff. Here's the deal. There's a lot of men running around who call themselves men just because they got a ding-a-ling between their legs. But being a male is a matter of birth. Being a man is a matter of choice. And dealing with women who say that real men don't whatever they want to fill in the blank with, that means that if you don't get up and walk out of that situation, if you don't extract yourself from that situation, and you are not a real man. She just punked you into submission. That's the way it works. Well, real men don't tolerate shit like that. Real men don't sit across from a pile of trash and act like it's a treasure. That's the trick. Real men don't ask women questions like that because real men don't hang out with thoughts. Stay sharp, men. Out.